welcome to Reality Tea Times 2, the podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I'm Tanika, and today we're going to be discussing I think we're on the 4th episode now of Temptation Island, and we're going to be covering episodes 7 and 8. So before we hop into that, just a quick announcement. If you want to get these episodes early, all the Temptation Island episodes have already been released. They're releasing a week early on the Patreon. And the other episodes to come after are all being released early on the Patreon. So you can go head over to patreon.com/realityteatimes2 and you can get all of that plus everything else that Patreon has to offer. The Jersey Shore recaps. I'm sure at this point I'm on the 90-day recaps. True crime documentaries, AMAs, everything is over there on the Patreon. All right, well, without further ado, let's head into the reason that we are here. So we're on episode 7 of Temptation Island. So we basically have left off with Shantae about to see the threesome. So we're seeing that. And we also see him saying that he has no regrets. I'm still respecting her. In what freaking universe do you think you're actually respecting your girlfriend while having a threesome? In what universe? She, in response to seeing this, says that she feels dumb. Well, here's the thing. I don't think she's dumb. I think she has blinders on. And we all sometimes have that happen, where we have these blinders on and we want to see what we believe or what we think or what they are portraying themselves to be when they're not having a camera watching them do a threesome. And it's not that you're dumb. He's the idiot in the equation. You're blinded to what you're saying. She says it's sad that he has no regrets. Agreed. She's like, I should, or sorry, basically what she's thinking is that he's feeling that she should kind of be okay with the fact that he did the threesome. She believes in that if they never came here, he wouldn't have done it. If he is willing to do something like this on camera, potentially knowing you're going to see it, because of course you're going to see it. This is gold for the producers. You're going to see this. What has he done or potentially done or almost done or wants to do behind your back with no camera? You know, I don't know why she thinks that he wouldn't have done this. Or just forget the threesome for a second. Just blanket cheated on her, you know? Um, Again, we are hearing about the 30-second message. I mentioned it in the last episode, where they're going to be able to do these 30-second messages to their partners. The potential is that, they could do one but not receive one, so there's a lot of that happening. So Alexa thinks that Shanti is in denial 1,000%. I think she is in denial, and you kind of want to hope that you can kind of see her get out of it. More on that in the next episode, not episode 8. I mean tomorrow's episode. So Shanti is like, maybe he only watched. Girl, why do you think he only watched? Why? And again, why is that okay? Why is it okay if he watched, or you're somehow putting this in your mind that it is okay that he only watched these two girls do whatever and he's not participating? He is still participating, even if he only watched, which of course he didn't only watch. But he is still participating. That is participation. Watching people having sex, voyeurism, that is participation. So that doesn't give you a pass. It's not like he's watching porn. It's not the same thing. These are two live people in front of his face doing whatever, and he's watching. That is participation. But I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like this man didn't do something. He, of course, had some sort of physicality happen. He's most likely, girl. I don't know if the sound of the clapping could have been scissoring or something, but it sure as hell sounded like a man balls deep. Okay. He had sex with one or both of them. So he's having sex. He could potentially getting his dick sucked. He could be doing God knows whatever else with them. And you need to come to the realization that that is what's happening. Pretending that he only potentially watched isn't going to make it better. In my mind, it wouldn't make it better. And that, again, I'm sorry to say, but that makes you sound dumb. So she says, I pictured him fathering my kids, but how do I show my kids this? Well, first of all, A, maybe don't show them the time you're on Temptation Island. Number two, that's something you have to grapple with. And listen, I've been through shit. I am a person who has forgiven. I forgive and I forgave my ex-husband to the point where I stayed, eventually walked away, but I went through the process of forgiving my current partner, and that took a lot of time, took a lot of effort, took a lot of work on both sides. But you have to learn how to grapple. Are you okay with it? And there's nothing wrong if you are. But this man currently in these 2 episodes is showing that not only is he capable of cheating on you, he is also capable of not giving a fuck about that he did it and is justifying his actions, but also that he doesn't give a fuck about you, how you feel about it, how it made you feel, how it potentially makes you look, how, all of those things. This man, to me, if I heard all of that, I would not feel comfortable having him father my children, personally. So Breon literally is getting Amaya to write this. What was he writing? Maybe something, I don't know what he was, but I can't remember this part. But um, she's not about it though. Either way, whatever it is, she ain't about it. He says, "I only say shit to make excuses." And he says, she is enough sexually, but when I go deep, it hurts her. But so okay, so okay. If my man talked like this about me, I would lose my mind. So, listen, I don't know if that's him trying to say his dick's too big. Who knows? Maybe it's partly that, or I don't know if it's that, or if it's whatever. But first of all, A, can we just blanketly say this was disrespectful? You shouldn't be talking about your girlfriend in this way. Number two, maybe it's you. Because, listen, my man isn't small. It's not average either. But he takes his time. You know what I mean? Knowing that my body needs to adapt. I feel like Breon is the kind of person, and maybe I'm incorrect in this, but I feel like Breon is the kind of man who is so quick for his satisfaction that he doesn't think about the fact that it has feelings. It's attached to a person who can feel pain or pleasure and all of those things. If you are going ram right in there, yeah, it's going to hurt. Yeah, we're not going to want to be about it. Yeah, all of that. So is it that she's not pushing herself to adapt to you? Like, is she chickening out? I don't want to use those terminology, but that's kind of the things that are coming to my mind. Is it that she's not adapting, or is it more about the fact that you don't have the patience to take time with her? So who knows? Could be any of those things. So Amaya, basically, she's just like, I'm feeling really uncomfortable with this conversation, which I would also feel really uncomfortable with this conversation. She's like, I don't think we should have it here. It's actually in his room. We're in his bedroom. I remember this now. We're in his bedroom and he's having this conversation with her, which I would not feel comfortable in that situation either, especially like if I have not gone there with you in any form and you are having this conversation about how your girlfriend can't take your dick, like, I'm uncomfortable. And he gets mad at her because she doesn't want to have this conversation right now. She doesn't feel comfortable. He's getting mad at her for her being uncomfortable in the conversation. Sir, read the fucking room. Let me be very clear here. And men maybe just don't see this the same way, but as women, especially when we are not like that with you and you're talking like this in front of us, yes, there's cameras, but I actually don't even know if there's physical people in that room right now, or if it's just cameras that are in his room. There might be not a single person in that room with her, and you're having this type of conversation. You have to understand, as a woman, that is an uncomfortable thing. She's hearing all of this shit about how you're such a sexual person. You want to have threesomes. She's probably figured out that you did have a threesome, and she's uncomfortable. That's a lot, and she's trying to protect. That's the feeling I got, is that she's trying to protect herself and she's trying to shield herself and get herself out of a situation that could turn bad because she doesn't know you, she doesn't trust you. So for him to get mad at her because he doesn't want to have this or she doesn't want to have this conversation with him right now in this setting is bullshit. And what you mad at? What you mad at? Like, really, truly. She basically kicks her out of the room. That's fine. She didn't want to be there anyways. So we're at the women's villa. And I think Mark is here. And he basically says that he wants them to think about who they want to keep. 2 guys each. And the men are going to be doing the same thing. And Alexa says for her, she wants to keep Max and Geo. Taylor says Yaman and Case. Shanti picks Hasim and Dan. And then Ashley picks, of course, Danny and Logan. And the rest that were not picked are going home. So we have dates. But tonight they're going to go out of the house, the whole group. They're going to, relax. And basically that's that. Now Mark is with the men, same thing. Tyler picks Kay and Mel. Who the hell is Mel? Brian picks Angel and Amaya. Grant picks, obviously, Natalie and Alex. And I'm going to point this out in a second. Lino picks Nikki and Olivia. Now, the rest of the women are going home. One of the women is Courtney. So what I found interesting here is that Brian did not pick the 2 girls for whom he had a threesome with. If anything, I think it was Lena, when he or Grant, one of the 2, when they picked Alex, Brian looked pissed. He clearly wanted to have his cake with these 2 women and then throw the rest of the cake out the house. He did not want these 2 women there. He wanted both of them gone. So the fact that Alex stayed, you could tell on his face he was visibly upset. But that's what you get. So Brian tells, I wrote Angel, but I think it's Amaya. He tells her that she's the favorite in the house. She says, I don't feel like you respect me. Like, we can't really be friends. And he says that he does respect her. And she says, like, you need to show me, like, don't tell me, like, I'm weird. Like, don't say that to me. Then he ends up asking her on their next date. Um, I think Alexa asked, no, she asked Max out on their date. Asked Alex on a date. But for whatever reason, out of a clear blue sky, all of a sudden there's this like pretty big sexual tension between him and Alex, to the point where he's like, don't do that with the straw. She's kind of putting the straw up and down in her little milkshake thing, or whatever it was. And he, you know, and he's like, don't do that with the straws, making me feel Tyler. I'm not Tyler, sorry. Lino. Of course not Tyler. Lino, like, you're the one guy who's actually been pretty respectful. Let's keep that up. Jeez. Anyways, Tyler is considering asking Kay to leave the island with him. So we're hearing rumbles of that now. Grant does end up sending a video to run before past that now. So we've done the dates or the day out, we're back on the island. Everyone has their dates. Nothing else to really talk about there. So yeah, Grant ends up sending um a video to Ashley, and he says, like, I feel heartbroken by what you said and how I was treated. I'm a good man, but I forgive you and I forgive myself. What the fuck you need to forgive her for? Like, I know she said some shit, but it's like, I'm sorry, but the shit she said completely is null and void in comparison to what you did. You cheated multiple times, I might add. So, like, what? He then says that I love you. And in response, she kind of says, I do feel bad about how I talked about him, but just because I said some stuff doesn't mean you cheat. Exactly. Grant, however, does not get a video, which he says it's not surprising. He says, I think she is hurt and just doesn't know how to deal with it, but she is choosing to not let go of the resentment and move forward, which for him, I guess, like, it clearly upsets him. And I'm just like, well, how does she move on from the resentment when you've basically proven there's nothing for her to let go of? You Maybe there could have been a chance in hell you could have let go of the resentment if you didn't cheat on her. But then you cheated on her and all you did was pile on to her resentment. So how can you expect her to move on from it? Like, I don't understand these men. It's like, no one's so stupid. Anyways, Alexa does do a video of Relino basically saying that I love you and I miss you. Among these disloyal men, you have been loyal to me. Explore what you need. I just hope your path leads back to me. Very sweet. Very, yeah. Lino does a video for Alexa. He says that he loves her and he misses her. He says, build your meaningful connections, but remember there's only one me. Very sweet. Taylor did not do a video for Tyler again, not surprising. He says, silence speaks. Yeah, it does. He says that he feels clowned. Seems to be happening a lot lately. She says that she didn't do one because she had nothing nice to say. Okay, well, say anything. Doesn't have to be nice. But he does do one for her. And in it, he says, like, I love you and I miss you. Which, again, what? He says, I need you to know I want the best for you and I do love you. She says, like, I wish that he could have acknowledged his wrongdoings, but he didn't do that, which I hear that. Shanti does get a video from Rion and he says, I love you and I miss you. Um, and he wants to be the man that she deserves. So far, you haven't shown that, but anyways, he says the boundary I crossed did not make me feel fulfilled, which again, you shouldn't have to go off and do a threesome in order to test the waters, be like, I wonder if this is going to fulfill me. Because what if it did, this quote unquote, what if it did? It's just, I don't know. It's just stupid. Anyways, he said, I will not make you feel inadequate. He never should have made her feel inadequate. He should have been always making her feel like she's the most special person in the world, the the only one that matters, all of that. So for him to say, I will never make you feel inadequate, you should have that's basic. That is basic. You want a fucking medal? Because you're not gonna get a damn medal for doing the bare fucking minimum. Anyways, Brienne does get a message from Ashanti, and she says that I have uplifted you here, but every word you spoke, you had no remorse. It makes me question and think, which we haven't talked about the thing she's questioning. It makes him cry. Hmm. And he says that he feels humbled. Again, you should have felt that way, I guess, from the beginning if you're going to do this, not doubling down on your bullshit. But, anyways, that's episode 7. Let's move on to episode 8. So, Amaya ends up pulling him aside and says, listen, I don't agree with your actions. You said that you didn't cheat. Again, this is the one he acts on the date. Okay, just had to preface that. That's important. She says that you said that you didn't cheat. You did. He says, well, you have to separate what's happening here and the real world. No, no, you don't. Because what you're doing here is most likely things that you would have done in the real world and vice versa. So to pretend like this isn't the real world and this isn't how you actually would act is bananas. And she says as much. She says, so you're basically picking and choosing. Which, yes, he is picking and choosing what's cheating, what's not cheating. Um, so she says, well, basically, with that in mind, like, I'm going to need to decline your date. And he said, honestly, I don't care. My only focus is on Ashanti. I'll go by myself, which he does, spoiler alert. Yeah, it's just, yeah. Brianna's literally on this date by himself, like I said. Then, we got a bonfire. It is the last one before the final bonfire, which is gonna have it's the couples basically coming in and doing it. So the women are first. We start with Shanti, where we basically see him getting rejected by Amaya. And Shanti's kind of like, good for her. She says, I'm happy that she stood up for herself, which is what you should be doing. She's standing up for herself, but she's also standing up for you. So the least you could do is stand up for you. Um, she says, well, she was also standing. Oh, sorry, I wrote that. She says, it doesn't feel good that it's my boyfriend that she's talking about because basically it's making her question, like, who am I dating? You know, who is this person? What did he do? All of that. Um, then we get Ashley next with Grant basically validating Natalie and the potential relationship they could have. She says, I think he jumps from girl to girl, which we're seeing that, without realizing who he is leaving behind. And we heard that he did that with his child's mother to Ashley, and now Ashley to Natalie. She also says that the video message was a waste of time. She didn't give a shit about it. So yeah. Next we got Alexa, and we basically see Lino in the sexual tension with Alex, which I really hated because you can kind of see, like, we can tell they're going to choose each other at the end of this. So to see this, it's like, well, that's uncomfy. But she basically says that he came here to test himself, and she seems pretty okay with the situation. Then we have Taylor with Tyler's date with Kay, which is, I think they have like the water and stuff, or was that the final day? Anyways, he makes a comment where he says, out with the old and in with the new. Hate that. Then we see the sleepover that they did afterwards. And she says, well, I mean, I'm happy for him. He's falling in love. And Mark is like, okay, so tell me what you really feel. Like, that's the diplomatic answer. But she says that she feels empty. So, I mean, yeah. So the men are next. Grant is first, and we see Ashley on her date with Danny and him in bed with her. And listen, y'all, while watching her kiss Danny, he looks so uncomfortable watching her, which is like, good. You should be uncomfortable. Because imagine then what she felt watching you having sex with somebody else. She's just kissing Danny, right? And it gets so it went on for a long time. This clip went on for a minute. And he's like, I'm good, Mark. Like, really? Like, he is not about this. He's like, that was terrible to watch. He said that she has moved on, and so have I. He feels relieved, he says. He felt like he was forcing things and he should have just cut it off a long time ago. Mark says, we tend to point fingers, but owning to what you did is a great start. Then we have Lino, and we see Alexa saying that she wants him more than she thought. So sweet. Um, Tyler is next, and we see Taylor and Yemen, anyways, making out. Not much else to really say there. Then Brianna is next with her conversation with Alexa, with, the whole like, I've pictured the man father of my kids and all that. And he says, I want to be the husband that she deserves. Brianna ends up actually opening up a little bit here about not being a safe space for her. He talks about his pretty tough childhood. His parents were on drugs, so they were hoping, I guess, the grandparents would step in. Grandparents could not step in. Grandma basically, I think, took off. So we ended up in the foster care system. Foster care system was horrible because, of course, it is. He says being Black, growing up in a white family was also, traumatic in its own way. Um, so it appears like he definitely went through a lot, and a lot of this went up until he was 17 years old. This man's only 25. Like, he has a lot that he clearly needs to work through. So now we are at the point where we're going to have overnight dates. Mark basically says you're going to pick like the one person you're going to want to date with. Whoever is not picked for an overnight will be going home. And Lena at the end of this basically decides, listen, I know what I came here for. I know what I want. And he's choosing, not only is he going to go home with Alexa at the end of this, he's going to propose to Alexa at the end of this. So yeah, that is basically it. That is the end of the episode. So just as a preface, we're going to be doing episode 9 and 10, as well as the unofficial reunion that was done through Nick Vile, the Vile Files. I watched the 2.5 hour reunion. So I'll be talking about that at the end of the episode next week. Episode 9 is going to be really, really short because there's nothing to talk about. But we will fill in those gaps with the reunion. So that is it for me, guys. That is it for this episode. So if you like what you heard, please rate, review the podcast on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, don't forget that you can also share us with everyone in your life if you really love this. And I do want to read those reviews. I'm definitely getting 5-star ratings, but I want to read those reviews. So send me those reviews and I will read those 4 and 5-star reviews on the podcast. Also, we're on every one of your favorite podcast apps. Every one of them, including you can find us on YouTube at Reality Tea Times 2. If you want to connect with us, you can do so by going to either Facebook or Instagram at Reality Tea Times 2. You can also find us on Twitter, TikTok, Reddit at Reality Tea Times 2 Pod. We also have our email, which is at realityteatimes2 at hotmail.com. Definitely want to hear from you guys. And we also have our new website where you can listen to all of these episodes. You can review the podcast on there as well. You can connect with me in any way, all the stuff. It's all there. And you can find me there at www.realityt times two, all spelled out, dot podpage.io. It's there. And don't forget, I also have my other podcast with my friend Mikkel, Next Take Podcast, where we talk about all kinds of different topics. But you can find us on any of your favorite podcast apps over there as well. Or you can also go to YouTube, and you go to Next Take Podcast, as well as our website, which is solo.to/Next Take Podcast. So yeah, there's that, and that's basically that. And again, don't forget, if all of this information is overwhelming, we do have all of the links, everything in our show notes. But that is it for now, guys. Thanks. Bye.